Kia ora team, Coach Ray here. I am a marathon coach who specialises in coaching beginner and recreational athletes to achieve their sporting as well as their health and fitness goals. In today's short video, I'm going to take you through my course guide for the Whangārei Half Marathon. This video is for anyone running the Whangārei Half Marathon this weekend, and what you're going to learn is some course insights, some pacing advice, as well as some performance tips for the event. Let's start by having a look at the course. So you start up here in Putahi Park and you follow the river down, crossing over and then running along a riverside drive. Follow Boswell track around to the airport. Just note this causeway through these mangroves here. That is a key point that we'll utilise later on. Around the back of the airport, up this hill, I think it's on a Tahi road, I think, from memory. So up this hill, down the other side, loop back around the park and through to the finish. Now, the general strategy for the course is consistent effort throughout. Have a conservative start and build that pace as you make your way through the event. And that'll allow you to finish nice and strong. What I recommend you do is follow my 1/3 pacing strategy. The first third or 7 kilometers of the event, have a steady pace. And that's until you get to that causeway I mentioned before on Boswell's track. The second 7 kilometers, you run at a slightly faster pace, and that'll take you through to the 5th aid station at the top of Whangārei Road, not Onatahi, as I said before, Whangārei Road at the top of the hill, just before you start dropping down to make your way home. And that downhill is the start of the final 7 kilometers where I want to encourage you to have your fastest pace. Now, if you're finding yourself relatively fresh in the final few kilometers, increase your pace a bit more. And sort of that 2-3 Ks to go is as you turn off Riverside Drive into William Fraser Memorial Park, and any point from there onwards is going to be a good place to start picking your pace up some more. Now, for people looking at running a sub 2-hour half marathon in Whangārei, you're going to need to hold an average of 5 minutes 41 per kilometre through the whole race. Now, I don't recommend you do that precisely because it's a near on impossible task. But to achieve that sub 2-hour goal, I want you to start calm and steady. Focus on your cadence and your posture. I want you to run tall. So as you get tired and fatigued, instead of being nice and upright, you're going to round your shoulders, you're going to hunch over, and that's going to have an effect of closing the airway off and inhibit you getting oxygen into the lungs to get out to the muscles. So nice tall posture, shoulders back, upright running is going to be key to keeping your airway open and maximizing that oxygen delivery to those muscles. Run your own race. Don't get swept up early on, especially from the start line when you can see and hear all those faster runners, and it's easy to get swept up at their pace and burn yourself out. We don't want that to happen. So what I recommend you do is focus on the first 7 kilometers, aim for 5:50 per kilometer. The second 7 kilometers, pick that pace up a little bit, 5:40 per kilometer. Bear in mind you've got that hill there that you might need to just save a little bit for. And then the final 7 kilometers, you've got that good downhill and aim for 5:30 per kilometer or quicker, especially as you get close to the finish line. For those aiming for a sub 1 hour 50, you need to average 5:12 per kilometer through the event, but don't try and bank time. Stick to your goal pace or your target paces, and that will pick up achieving that average. Stay strong through each and every aid station. Watch for your pace drifting off later in the race, but you've got that downhill to help you lift that as you boost it to the finish line. So for that opening third of the event, aim for 5:20 per kilometer. Through the middle third, aim for 5:10 per kilometer, and then 5 minutes flat or quicker as you make your way through to the finish line. Those aiming for a sub 1:40 time, 4:44 per kilometer is your average that you need to maintain. Stay relaxed, particularly early on, just holding that rhythm and build through it. Now, there are pace groups for the event. Now, I couldn't find details as to what time groups they target, but there are pace groups, so keep an eye out for them. And if there are for your time goal, utilize their support and assistance. But as you get closing in on the finish line, for those aiming for a sub 140, you will need to be picking it up, particularly through those last 5Ks, getting faster as you get closer. So your target times, or to achieve that overall sub 140, that opening 7 kilometers, aim for 4:55 per kilometer. Through the middle third, aim for 4:45, and then that final 7Ks, bring it on home, 4:30 to 4:35, touch quicker if you can. And for those really racing, going for a sub 130, you need to average 4:17 per kilometer. Now, I know the screen says 4:15. That'll give you a little bit more of a fudge factor up your sleeve to make sure you get comfortably 129 and something. Start controlled, strong through the middle, and then push it through for a tough finish. I want you to really focus on saving yourself so that you can surge towards the end. So sitting in on the first portion, building that pace as you go through. Now, most people will be utilizing a GPS watch and will be running with pace, but if you're used to training with heart rate or running power, then flick me a message and we can have a quick chat about what's going to work for you based on what is normal for you to help you achieve that sub 130 goal. Your opening 7Ks, aim for 4 minutes 25 per kilometer. Through the middle, we're picking it up to that 4:15 per kilometer, and then that final 7 kilometers under 4 minutes if you can, but definitely under 4:05. Use that downhill to bank a little bit more time, take advantage of that downhill. So to help with your mental preparation in the days leading up to the event, I recommend downloading my self-psych form, and you can find a link for that. Download it for free in the description. I recommend you print it out. Once it's printed out, use a pen, sit down, find some quiet time for 20, 30 minutes, 2 nights out, the night before the race, and physically write your answers in all the blank spaces I've got in that self-psych form. It'll cover off everything you need to consider to develop your race plan. It also covers off a whole lot of what if this goes wrong on race day, and that can have a really beneficial effect that if something does go wrong, you've already thought about it and that you've got a solution already in mind, and so you can just move in and start doing whatever it is you're going to do to solve the problem that's gone wrong. So spending these 20 to 30 minutes is a really great way. It's going to increase your chances of achieving your goals. So yeah, click the link down below, download that for free, and then spend some time planning and mentally preparing. Hand in hand with that mental preparation is some visualization. Now you can do some visualization of some key parts of the race course as you're doing your self-psych form, but it's also handy to do lying in bed the night before the race, 2 nights before the race, but I don't want you dwelling on things and overthinking stuff. So just visualize some of the key points in the race, the start, some of the aid stations, the points in the course where you're going to increase your pace. And of course, the important one, the finish line, turning in and seeing that clock and seeing it 1:59 if you're trying to achieve a sub 2 hour, or 1:29 if you're trying to achieve a sub 1 hour 30. I also recommend having some mantras pre-prepared. One that I often go to is when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I find that a good one. It helps when I recognize I'm in a challenging position, particularly mentally. I'm having a bit of a change in my thought process. That helps turn things around, switches it up to be a bit more positive. Acknowledging the fact that this is a tough point in the race, and this is the time for me to start putting my best foot forward. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going. And if you can sing the whole song, do so. But I just know that one key lyric. Plenty of other great options out there if you're using lyrics or poems. I grew up in the 80s and early 90s. I was never a New Kids on the Block fan, but Hanging Tough, once again, single lyric, it kicks into my head when I want it the least. Break the race into the chunks. I mentioned that before, that a good way of doing it is in breaking it into thirds and using that for your pacing guidance. Some people prefer breaking it into 5Ks. 4 park runs plus a little bit extra. It's easy to manage. And the great thing is you can count them nice and easy. If you break it up into 21.1 1 kilometer chunks, then counting it starts becoming a problem. And you're ticking them off. It's like, oh, how many have I ticked off now? Yeah, break it into simple things that you can mentally keep track of. Those 5K, 7K chunks of the event is a great distance to focus on each step of the way. The weather forecast for the weekend, it's going to be a bit windy, but it's not going to be cold and it's going to be mainly fine. Although there are some showers coming later in the day, they should not arrive during the race day. Having said that, the weather forecasters don't always get it right. Be prepared for any weather conditions. On the aid stations, they've got R-line and water, so take advantage of that. If it is a little bit warmer than forecast, and as I mentioned, it's going to be windy, you'll find yourself a little bit more dehydrated. So make sure you keep that fluid and that fuel topped up. The R-line will provide some carbohydrates. It'll also provide some electrolytes, so that's a great thing to utilize. Try and tuck in to other runners as well, so you're sheltering from the wind as best as you can. And as I mentioned, there are pace groups, so see if there are pace groups for the time you want to achieve. They'll be easily identifiable. They've got helium balloons. The balloons will be sitting about 1/2 meter above their head. So have a look, see what's written on the balloons, and you'll see what pace group they are targeting. On the race morning, make sure you take all the key things: your running shoes, your cap, your sunglasses, your race number. Make sure you've got them all with you. Wear them. Pin your race number on your singlet or t-shirt the night before. That way you don't forget any of these things and have a little bit of a panic when you get to the race start. As for a warm-up, that's going to be dependent on what your goals are. So if you're wanting a really fast time, I recommend a thorough warm-up. If you've got more recreationally based goals, a basic warm-up of 10 to 15 minutes jogging, and then use those first few kilometers to build into things. Now the race start is 8 o'clock, but the race briefing is 7:45. So make sure your race warm-up is complete and you're on the start line at 7:45 listening into that race briefing. I also recommend that every race morning there's always a queue for the portaloos or the public toilets nearby. Don't overhydrate first thing in the morning. Go to the toilet early, keep that bladder relatively empty, and you will be fine. I touched on it before, but I really want to emphasize that last 2 to 3 kilometers as you turn off Riverside Drive onto William Fraser Memorial Park. Start picking that pace up a little bit more, and then give everything with 1 kilometer go. Use those aid stations as reference points, as well as that causeway on Boswell's track through those mangroves, and the 14 kilometer mark, the 5th aid station at the top of Whangārei Road. And yeah, have a mental note of those and you can't go wrong. Now, all the best for your Whangārei Half Marathon. Let me know in the comments how you went. What time did you achieve? What time did you want to achieve? Now, if you want support to help smash your next half marathon, and I've got a number of training plans I'll recommend. Depending on your goal, I've got your Project 2 Hour, Project 1 Hour 50, Project 1 Hour 40, and Project 1 Hour 30. These are training plans that are 10 or 20 weeks long and are designed to optimize your performance based on where your current fitness is. So if you run a 2 hours in Whangārei and want to do 1 hour 30, it's not designed for that. If you're close to these target times, click the links in the description down below and you'll see what times you need to achieve prior to starting these plans. 10 or 20 weeks long help you guarantee that you'll get the time you want. If you meet those performance criteria, it will get you there. If you're after a strength training plan to complement your run training, I've got my Run Strong, Build Strength for Faster, More Efficient Running. Now this is both a 12 and a 24-week plan, and there's variations with 2 and 3 gym sessions per week to help keep you injury-free and become a more efficient runner overall. If you're looking at doing the Coatsville Half Marathon, my 20-week training plan with the squad starts on the 22nd of September 25. Now there's 3 variations for that depending on your ability and what you want to achieve. And if you want something a little bit more personalized, look me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'm easy to find on Facebook. DM me on Instagram at coach_ray_NZ, or send me an email, coachray@coachray.nz, and we can organise a time, have a chat about what you want to achieve, what your current lifestyle and fitness goals are, as well as your other constraints, work, family, study commitments, and we can help you achieve that goal. All the best this weekend. Have an amazing race, and let me know in the comments how you got on.